Barrows is not only one of the most iconic pieces of content in the game, it is also home to some fascinating mathematics. Why does completing the Barrows collection log seem to take forever? Why is it so hard to get a full set for the Mauritania Elite Diary? We'll answer all of these questions, but first, let's talk about the basics. There are 6 brothers in total. For every brother that you kill, the odds of you getting a piece of Barrows equipment goes up. Now, the amount of brothers killed influences your odds in 2 different ways. First, there's the odds of getting any Barrows item per roll, which is given by this formula, where n is the amount of brothers killed. So you can see if n is 1, it's 1 over 392, but if we crank that up all the way to all 6 brothers, it's 1 over 102. Almost quadrupling your chance of getting a Barrows item each roll. But the other thing that happens is that for each additional brother you kill, you get an extra roll from the reward chest. So if you kill 0 brothers, you get 1 roll on the reward chest and you won't be able to get an item because you killed 0 brothers. But if you kill all 6 brothers, you get 7 rolls with an improved unique chance per roll. So the effect of killing a brother adds to the odds in both of these ways. You get an extra roll, and the individual rolls have a better chance of hitting an item. This multiplicative effect is the exact reason why it's always better to kill all 6 brothers, even if you're hunting one specific item. And don't just listen to me, here is a tweet from Wooks saying the exact same thing after seeing Kieran explain the drop mechanics. So from now on, since we know it's the superior strategy, let's assume we're always killing all 6 Barrows brothers. So if we plug in the 6 brothers into this formula here, we see that our odds of getting a Barrows item on each individual roll is 1 over 102. So now how do we get to the odds of getting an item each chest? Well, you might think that you just multiply this by 7 since you have 7 rolls if you killed all brothers, but this is incorrect. Luckily in statistics, there's a very simple trick where it's easier to calculate something that doesn't happen than something that happens. Let me explain what I mean. If we want to calculate the odds of getting any item in a Barrows chest, that means on 7 rolls we have to get no item. And the odds of getting no item is 101 over 102. Right, because the odds of getting an item each roll is 1 over 102. And if you add all the probabilities together, they should add up to 1. So that means the odds of not getting an item in the chest is 101 over 102 to the power of 7, because it needs to not happen 7 times in a row. And then because we're interested in the probability of getting the item and not getting the item, we're going to do 1 minus this number. And that will give us the probability of getting any item. And that is 1 over 15. And now if you want to calculate this for any specific item, what you do is you take the 102 and you multiply it by 24, which is the total amount of items that you have, and you do the same trick. And that leads to 1 over 350 for any specific Barrows item. But if the drop rate of any specific item is 1 in 350, then why is it that most people will have to open more than 1,000 chests in order to greenlock Barrows? Well, this has to do with a famous mathematical problem called the coupon collectors problem. And before we dive into the mathematics, let me show you how this happens with Barrows. First, let's turn this Barrows grind into a series of coin flips. Let's calculate how many kills we need on average to have a 50% chance at a specific Barrows item. That's fairly easy, and you might have seen me do this in a whole bunch of other videos, but what we do is we take the drop rate, which was 1 over 350, we take the denominator of the drop rate and we multiply it by ln2. This gives us 243 chests. So if you're hunting a specific item, you will have a 50% chance at that specific item, say a TzarOSRS plate body, on 243 chests. So now let's lay out the 24 Barrows items here on the ground and let's open 243 chests at a time. What do you think will happen if I open the first 243 chests? Well, I'm gonna get approximately half of these items, because essentially what I'm doing is tossing a coin for every single item, and if it lands, say, heads, I receive the item, and if it's tails, I do not receive the item. So I will get approximately half of all these items. But now watch what happens when I open another 243 chests. If I open another 243 chests, how many items am I gonna get from the remaining items? Well, it's still gonna be half. It's still individual coin flips all the way. And so now I have a quarter of the Barrows items left that I still need for the full completion. And you can see where this is going. If I do this again, I still have 3 items left that I need for the full completion of Barrows. And if I do it again, I might have 2. Or I might have 1, and I do need to do it one more time. And now look at the counter, we've completed over 1500 chests. And so why does it take over 1500 chests to complete something where the drop rate says it is only 1 in 350? Well, if you think about it this way, you're going for 24 items at the same time, and you're gonna get lucky on half of those, and you're gonna get unlucky on the other half. And the ones you're getting unlucky on, some of them you're gonna go very unlucky on. The odds of you throwing 24 coins and them all coming up heads is just way too small. This is a very good example of the famous coupon collector problem in mathematics. So forget about the chests for a minute. Let's talk about how many Barrows items we have to get on average to complete the entire collection log. There are 24 Barrows items on the collection log. And if we get extremely lucky, we're gonna get no duplicates. We're gonna get all 24 in one go. But that's not the reality of things, and that's where the coupon collector problem comes in. On the first Barrows item you're gonna get, you have a 100% probability that it's gonna be a new one. So let's just write this 100% probability down as 24 over 24. And for the next Barrows item, you will have a 23 over 24 probability that it's gonna be a new item, because there's a 1 in 24 chance that it's the item you've already gotten. Now you can see this trend right here. It goes down from 24 all the way to 1 over 24 for your final Barrows item. And we can separate out the 24 here from the brackets. So we take the 24 and we put it out in front. And what remains within the brackets is a harmonic series for the number of 24. And so if we calculate this out, if we say how many Barrows items do we need on average to complete the full collection log, that is 24 times the harmonic number for 24, which is 91 Barrows items needed. You're gonna need 91 Barrows items before, on average, you complete the collection log. Now, how does this translate back to Barrows chests? Well, this time it is as easy as just multiplying it by the drop rate. So if we take the 90.6 and we multiply it by our drop rate of 1 in 15, or well, rather the 15, then we get 1,320 Barrows chests that you need to complete on average to get the full collection log for Barrows. Now, next to the Barrows items, if you do this full grind, what do you get? Well, you get 1.5 million in cash, you get about 600k mind runes, 250k chaos runes, 150k death runes, and 80k blood runes. All of this is worth about 64.3 million. And that's excluding all the Barrows items. Now, I have to say that this is more chests than I'm willing to do, and I am not a collection log nerd. So for you cloggers out there, good luck. But what I'm more interested in is the amount of chests I need in order to complete the Mauritania Elite Diary. And that is where I get any set. It doesn't matter which one, I just need a full Barrows set. Well, unfortunately, mathematically, this problem is not tractable. That means it's impossible to calculate by hand. But we can perform some simulations. And if we have a look at the simulations, we see some interesting stuff. So here on the green line, we see the probability of getting any Barrows set with the chest opened on the x-axis, and the red line is the chance of getting a specific set. For example, a TzarOSRS set if you're aiming for that for combat achievements, for example. And what we see is that you get any set way earlier than any specific set. And the odds of you going very unlucky on getting any specific set is relatively low. So the graph here shows us that you basically have guaranteed any complete set by 750 chests opened, while at the same time you only have a 60% chance for getting a TzarOSRS set specifically. And so what can we learn from these simulations? Well, one, completing any set is much easier than completing a specific set. There are still 5% of people who will go over 1500 chests to get a specific set they're aiming for. That is more than the average you need to complete the entire collection log. 2, the 50% chance point of getting any set is at about 300 chests, which is not too bad, and the 50% chance of getting a specific set is only at double that, at 650 chests. But if you're gonna grind for a specific set, you might need to be prepared to complete the entire collection log, because 1 in 20 people will go over 1500 chests to get their full TzarOSRS set. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. If you like mathematics in RuneScape, please consider watching my FiftyFifty Ironman series, where I play an Ironman who can only kill a mob until he has a 50% chance of getting their rarest drop. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you very much.